And today for you, we're going to wrap up our second season of this Colorado Rockies rebuild. As you can see, we are in late September. We only have a couple weeks left in our regular season. However, the minor league seasons are finished. So here, some of our minor leaguer guys did. So we did pick up Franklin Barreto from free agency after the trade deadline. We had some space and a need for a middle infielder. He did okay in his time. I recently signed him to a 2-year contract, so I actually probably don't mind having him here for a second season, just to see, maybe give us a little bit of depth. Maybe we can get a little bit of something out of him at the major league level. One of our top prospects, Ryan Velade, not the greatest season at AAA, but I can't really complain too bad. Power numbers were decent, on-base percentage decent, average decent. He's going to be a 73 overall. We'll have him on our 40-man roster this off-season. Maybe he'll break camp with the big league squad next year. Maybe we'll start him in AAA. All depends on how spring training goes. One of our big offseason signings, and when I say big, just mean one of those young guys, Jorge Oña never quite got going at either double or AAA. He's going to be 26 next year. I know his potential is in the upper 70s. Probably going to hang on to him for one more season, see if we can catch fire. Michael Toglia did not do very well at AAA. Kind of hurt his development a little bit by moving him up. But still, overall, he's going to be 23 next year. Gonna have to see if I want to start him in double or triple next year, depending on how our roster shakes out. Still have high hopes for him, so we want to make sure that we do a good job developing him. Colton Welker is right back in the thick of things when it comes to our top prospect discussions. He was hurt for a good amount of the year, but he hit really well at AAA, although, oddly enough, on-base percentage lower than average. Don't usually see that, but he took absolutely no walks. So maybe in the discussion for a major league spot next year. Monta Harrison is going to be a similar situation to Jorge Oña because I know his potential is pretty high, so we'll probably give him one more year to see if he can sort it out. William McIver played pretty well at AAA, probably going to be more of that backup catcher. We might be looking for one in the short term. Maybe we'll give him a shot in the majors next year. He's not too bad, so we'll see about that. Garrett Hampson did kind of start to get his swing back a little bit at AAA, so hopefully that confidence boost will pay off next year. He will be back in the majors, of course. Eleris Montero, the big return from the Nolan Arenado trade, has not quite developed at all for us. I mean, his overall is going up, but he's not been playing well. Only 22 years old, so still plenty of hope in the long term. One of our trades last year, Austin Martin, he had a decent season at AA. Like more power out of him, but so we really want to try to in a year or two. Zafine, he started out. However, only 20 years old, already a 65 overall. I know he's got that high B potential. Still big high hopes for him. Definitely part of our long-term future. Dave Perry heated up as the season went on. Only grew 2 overall, so that development's a little bit concerning. But numbers at AA ended up being pretty solid. Fred Marshall, he ended up getting called up, one of our draft picks from last year. He played pretty well. Brenton Doyle is one of our B potential center fielders. However, he's only 63 overall, and he's 23, so not quite developing a quick skill like we had hoped. Reese Hines picked it up as the year went on. Decent slash line is what he finished with. He's only 21 years old, so like that. Miguel Herrera had a decent season, although he cooled off at the end of the year. Again, 65 overall, 21 years old. Can't really complain. Tyler Soderstrom, who we got from the Oakland Athletics last year, he ended up taking over the catcher role. 63 overall, 20 years old, B potential. So he looks to be a nice offensive force. Maybe we could try to develop that defense a little bit. He could be a nice future piece. Gabriel Moreno looks more like a defensive first catcher. He seriously struggled at AA, so I'm a little bit concerned about that, especially considering that he is already 22 years old. Julio Carreras had some pretty surprising development. You look at those massive gains he got to his contact attributes this season. I like where this kid is headed. He could be a nice little utility infielder. Travis Blankenhorn struggled at AAA So I tried to send him down to Double-A, and things did not get much better. Not really quite sure what I'm going to do with this guy. Might give him one more year. Just kind of get things going, but has not looked promising so far. He was one of those main returns from that trade we sent to the Minnesota Twins for Trevor Story last year. A little bit disappointing, but we go from here and see what happens next year. And the pitching side of things, Jordan Balazovic had a phenomenal year at Triple-A. He will probably have an inside shot at making the majors as a starter. We probably will let him kind of figure things out as a baptism by fire next year in the majors. Ryan Rollison, one of our top lefties, did not pitch all that well at Triple-A. I'm knocking down his potential by one because he just did not have it this year at all. Noah Song, we acquired in a trade with the Boston Red Sox, and he pitched pretty decently at Triple-A. Peter Lambert also had a decent season at Triple-A, so he'll be in the hunt for the rotation next year. Hunter Green, we probably will take slowly. We probably won't add him to the 40-man roster unless we have to keep protect him from the Rule 5 draft. I don't think he's going to be in the play for rotation. Maybe midway through the season. Julian Fernandez, he took massive growth this year. Really performed well at Triple-A as a piece. Jeff Hartley, our unfortunate 5-year contract from last offseason, messed up. He pitched pretty well, so he'll be discussion for bullpen. Yency Almonte, though he struggled in the majors, did pitch pretty well at Triple-A, so kind of reestablishing himself there. I think I am going to move Jose Mujica to a relief pitching role in the offseason because he pitched pretty well both at Double and Triple-A this year. Yohan Ibar looks to be everything and more with his abilities. He pitched really well at Triple-A. Jesus Tinoco also impressed, and then Tony pushed him to Triple-A after the trade deadline, and he was just Triple-A. So another B potential guy we want to get into our as soon as possible. Down in Double-A, Chris Oliveras, he pitched okay. Matthew Johnson, he pitched okay. Chris McMahon, he pitched okay. Derek Mullins and Freddie Garcia were our two draft picks from last year. They both performed pretty well. So Freddie Garcia will find himself in Triple-A next year. Derek Mullins is only 19. He will be in Double-A as well. On the bullpen things, not much to speak of when it comes to the Double-A in terms of high-end potential guys. Tommy Doyle is the only B potential. He did not throw all that well. We'll probably try to push him to Triple-A next year. If he doesn't get it, then we will let him go after that. League club. So let's get to simulating the rest of the season here. So my Triple-A team just barely missed the playoffs, and I think the Double-A team was very close as well. So it's really speaking to how we have been improving our farm system. Now our Triple-A and Double-A teams are really competing at a high level. So let us go and finish out this season and simulating. Travis Demeritte, so we'll place him on the bench. That's going to put me over the roster. I probably want to send Jonathan Daza back down because I want to see what Demeritte can do in the last couple weeks. So this last game here as well. Let's go and how our guys finished up the season. So Corey Ray had been on a tear most of the season, cooled off at the end that you see there, but ridiculous slash line of 265, 360, and 512. I may give him an auto potential bump. I think he's a 74 potential, so I'll make sure that he gets to a 75 because that's a really impressive season for his first year, especially only being a 70 overall coming into the season. So you got to be impressed with that, especially hitting in the leadoff spot. Brendan Rodgers, we'd like to see a little bit more out of him. Really can't complain too much. That's a pretty solid season. He's already up to that 78 overall, so he's really turning out into the guy that we were hoping he'd turn into. Taylor Jones eventually got thrust into the starting lineup as the DH against both righties and lefties, hitting in the 3-hole. Can't complain too bad about the season as a whole. I that He didn't do as well as he could have against lefties. You can see those numbers dropping down a little bit, but I am pretty satisfied with him overall. Patrick Wisdom had been having a good year, but he kind of fell off near the end of the season. I think he'll still be back with us next year, though. Trevor Larnach really coming into his own. Those power numbers were high early on, not so much at the end, but you do see good potential, good bumps in the power department, +6, +4. So he is growing as a player, and we like that. Chavez, the time of really did him wonders. What a great slash line. This guy has really established himself as being part of our future going forward. Michael Macio, he had a good season as well, so he'll be next year. Francisco Mejia, not bad, although for not being a phenomenal defender, we'd like to see a little bit more out of him offensively, but can't complain too bad. Jose Garcia, up and down. Those batting numbers aren't what I'd like to see, but again, he's given us a defense in the short term. I like him. He end up being a trade piece at some point to land us some type of a high-end starting pitcher. I can't complain too much. On the bench, Mauricio Dubon, a good start to the season. Put him in the starting lineup. He started to struggle. Didn't quite pan out. I don't know what I'm going to do with him yet. I'll have to make some decisions on him. Isan Diaz, I think, will be back. He didn't have a great year at AAA, but it's okay. But you see those numbers. Only 29 at-bats, but I like that slash line. Probably keep around, mostly as an organizational guy. I know his potential is not any higher than 73, so he doesn't have a lot of upside left, but I kind of like to keep him around with that multi-positional ability. Rio Ruiz started the season hot, but didn't. I think he's going to be back next season. And finally, onto our rotation. Nick Neidert was having a season at AAA, so we brought him up to our rotation. And he pitched okay, not phenomenal. I'm going to bring him back, though, because I kind of like what I got out of him in AAA last year. Austin Gomer finished the season hot. Maybe cross our fingers for get the guy that we thought we had when we first started this franchise. Christian Javier, up and down all season, but the home run, little problem in cores. It is what it is. But still, we're going to hang on to him for long term. Tyson threw pretty well. I don't think his FIP is going to be great either, though. So Tyler Beatty, our Rule 5 draft pick, he was okay. Probably hang on to him for one more year. His potential solid. Antonio Santos had a killer year at AAA, but did not translate it to the majors. Ben Bowden, not too bad in the majors. Eniel De Los Santos really settled down after a slow start to the season, so I can't be complaining about that. Justin Lawrence, I'm going to make sure that he got a potential bump and the game didn't screw him over because he was just straight filthy this year. Let's see. Lucas Gilbreth, he won the left-handed job out of camp, and he performed pretty well. Wilson Charles has been a great pickup for us. FIP wasn't great, but I think that's elevated because of the home runs per 9. I'm not too mad at that, though, honestly. And then Robert Stevenson, as you guys already know, FIP was quite solid. I may have been 2 and 100, but I do like the directions that we are heading. And I think that I might consider getting a little aggressive this offseason, trading some of our pieces to try to get some higher-end players. Maybe we want to help out another team that's just now entering a rebuild. So, I don't know, some of the teams that might be available. So, maybe the Marlins. We'd like to trade. The Marlins have a lot of good pitching. Let's see. Pirates, I don't think. And the Reds just were awful this year. So that trade did not work out for them at all. Although it looked like Raimel Tapia had a pretty good year for them, but that's not going to be much of a consolation. And then in the East, Rays have some good pitching. They might be looking to go into a rebuild. Maybe we'll go get somebody like John Means from the Orioles. Tigers, they're in a full rebuild. They're not going to want to probably trade with us. The Twins don't have much we would be interested in. So I guess we will just see in the offseason whom we might be interested in trading with. So in the meantime, let's take a look at some of the award winners for this year. So in the National League, Max Muncy was a pretty good slash line, 41 home runs. Wow, Max Muncy's up to a 94 overall. That's crazy. So he won in the National League. And then Rafael Devers, decent slash on as well. He hit 454. So a couple of good players there. The Cy Young in the AL, Garrett Cole. He finished with a 263 ERA and 263 strikeouts. And then for National League, of course, it's Jacob deGrom, because who else would it be? And he finished with 226 strikeouts. Looks like he missed a few starts with injury as well. And then finally, look at the batting title. Mookie Betts, he finished with a 310 average. I'm sorry, how is Mookie Betts not the MVP? Look at that. This game just doesn't make any sense sometimes. How is Mookie Betts not the MVP? That's insane. And then in the AL, Xander Bogaerts went crazy. How is Xander Bogaerts not the MVP? I just don't get how Devers beats out Bogaerts and Muncy beats out Betts. It's also kind of funny that that those guys both play for the same teams. That's kind of funny, actually. So we have the Mets and San Diego for the wild card game in the NL, and then the AL, the White Sox and Oakland. So let's sim a week. So Oakland took down the White Sox and is now 1-1 with the Angels. And then San Diego took down the Mets, but they are down 2-1 to the Dodgers. So let's go another week. So Oakland did finish off LA for their nice impressive run. And great, we got to watch the Yankees again in the ALCS. Please just kill me now. Meanwhile, the Dodgers got pushed to 5 games against the Padres, but they are now up 2-0 on the Chicago Cubs. If we get another Cubs-Yankees final, I may lose it. Dodgers and Yankees. Well, that's not much better because I don't like either one of these teams. I mean, who honestly likes the Dodgers and Yankees? I mean, unless you live in LA or New York, you probably despise both of these teams, and I respect you for it. So let us go game by game. So we have Walker Buehler versus Garrett Cole. And that is a win for the Yankees. Trevor Bauer versus Luis Severino. That is a win for the Dodgers. Tony Gonsolin versus Jordan Montgomery. That's a win for the Dodgers. Dustin May versus Chris Paddock. How did Chris Paddock end up on the Yankees? Whatever. That is a win for the Dodgers. And then Walker Buehler versus Jameson Taillon to close it out. Oh, we're going to Game 6. Trevor Bauer versus Garrett Cole. And the Dodgers are your 2022 World Series champs. I kind of get it. We're not going to talk about Trevor Bauer. Awkward. But there it is. So the Dodgers take home the 2022 World Series, and that is going to be the end of this episode. I appreciate y'all tuning in. I may take you guys through a little bit of the offseason. I haven't quite decided how I'm going to do that yet. But in the meantime, in between time, I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and thanks for tuning in.